Conoce a Terry Calvesper. Tiene el 90% de su cuerpo totalmente quemado. Sus labios, su nariz y sus pestañas fueron totalmente quemadas en un incendio provocado por su madre al dejar un cigarrillo encendido en la cuna de la bebé. Tan solo con 23 meses de vida, esta niña ha sufrido más de 50 cirugías dolorosas y tendrá que soportar vivir con este dolor durante toda su vida.
When she was 18 months old, 90% of Terry's body was burnt in a house fire. She defied medical odds when she made it through the first night, and has continued to defy all the odds since.
Llegar hasta aquí no ha sido nada fácil. Su padre, Paul, nunca pensó que aquel bebé que tenía casi todo su cuerpo quemado fuese a sobrevivir.
School days, I wake up at 7. It's a weekend, I'll just wake up any time. Sometimes it's 10 o'clock. No go out actually in there. Because I would like to work in a hospital. Because I'd like to help people who's ill. But I think I know how to do bandages because I had lots on me.
Terry Calvesper began life as a typical bouncing baby girl. But in 1998, an accidental house fire ripped through their home, leaving 18-month-old Terry suffering 88% burns to her body and fighting for her life. Nobody expected this extraordinary little girl to live through that night.
The type of injury Terry suffered is one of the worst insults that the human body can suffer.
On the night of the 20th of November, 1998, the room that Terry was sleeping in went up in flames.
But obviously by the time somebody realised what was going on, it was too late. You couldn't actually get in there to get her out.
Un cigarrillo que la madre de Terry olvidó en la cuna de su hija accidentalmente condenó a Terry a pasar la mayor parte de su vida en un hospital.
A stunned Paul was quickly taken to the hospital in another police car to be with his daughter. When he arrived, the sight of Terry was just too much for him to accept.
She was just like, it's like a silver sheet really, it's like a heat sheet. The only thing you saw was two little eyes, and the smell of it was horrible. You can't be described the smell, it was horrible.
He walked into her room and then walked straight out, wanting just to remember his daughter as she was, not as she had become in the last horrific few hours. This is Terry Calvesper at 10 years old.
I go to football on a Friday and I learn how to do football and how to play it.
Position, good girl. Wait for the ball, wait for the ball.
But 8 years ago, when she suffered 90% burns in an accidental house fire, nobody expected her to make it through one night. If she was going to have any chance of survival, she had to be transferred to a specialist burns unit.
Terry had an extensive, up to 90% full thickness burn injury, which affected her face, her trunk, both upper limbs and both lower limbs. Unfortunately, Terry's fingers were essentially dead when she came in. We didn't remove them to start off with because we always give everything the benefit of the doubt, but during the course of her treatment it became apparent that the fingers on both hands unfortunately were not viable. We had to remove them. Similarly, her foot, it became apparent that the burn was so bad there that the foot was not viable, the tissue there was not alive, and we had to remove it. Terry had a very deep burn to the scalp and skull, and at the time of her injury the burn was down through the skull to the outer lining of the brain.
It was 3 months before Terry was off the critical list, and 8 months before she was allowed to leave the hospital. During this time, the whole experience was too much for Terry's mother to handle. She left Paul caring for Terry alone, and Terry hasn't seen her mum for 7 years. In that time, Terry has undergone over 80 operations in an attempt to rebuild her body that was so badly burned away. Despite 8 years of reconstructive surgery, Terry is still left with a catalogue of physical disfigurements and disabilities.
If I go out, I will wear my wig, but if I don't go out, I won't wear the shirt on. My skin gets all dry.
She's got no nose, but we'll know sort of the fleshy part of the nose. She's still got the bone structure, so hopefully they can build on that. And then it's her feet. She's lost 1 foot completely from the ankle down, so she's got nothing there.
This is my shoe that goes to my left leg to help me walk and run. Without it, I can't run very well and walk very well. There's a foot inside my shoe.
Caring for Terry has been a full-time job for Paul since the fire. But to give him a break, 1 weekend a month, Terry stays with Alison and her family.
I've got 13.
13? Well done.
How many have you got?
Not that many, I don't think.
She never really comments on the way she looks. I mean, she'll say if she's dressed up like a princess, that she looks like a princess.
When I go out there, I'd like to get married and have children.
Por lo que le reste de vida, Terry deberá seguir practicándose operaciones dolorosas para estirarle la piel, además de injertos.